All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is our Illustrator author Q&A. I am Joy Ufomadu, and Uzo, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Uzo Njoku.
All right, awesome. All right, so I am the author of Chinyere's Brother, and Uzo is the illustrator. And so we just wanted to come together for a little bit to answer some questions that you all may have about Chinyere's Brother. All right, so I'll start off with the first one. So, what is Chinyere's Brother about? So, just kind of in a nutshell, without giving everything away, Chinyere's Brother is about a family who finds out that their youngest son has autism. And so we get to see how the family kind of copes with that and how they grow through the diagnosis. So it's not just about the diagnosis, but it's about the family and their growth. So Uzo, anything else you want to add to that?
Um, I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate to the story in some ways, probably maybe through the images or through the wording, because regardless of if you have a little brother or sister who face autism, you do feel a kind of connection, to when everyone in the family gets a kind of news and how you guys react to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thank you for that take on it. Yes. So, who is the audience for the book? So it's categorized as a children's book, but I honestly think that it is for everybody. And just kind of like what you were saying, Uzo, if a person has a disability or if they know someone else with a disability, it's for them, but it's also for people who don't have disabilities, who have experienced, having some sort of difference. And even if a person doesn't realize or they're not cognizant of their differences, I think it kind of helps you to realize that they exist, and that there's some beauty in connecting with people who are different from you and celebrating differences. So I think the audience is children, parents, and honestly, anybody. I think anybody can relate, not necessarily just to autism spectrum disorder, but experiencing disability in some way. So that's my take on that. What about you?
I think you pretty much covered it. Like she said, it's not just for kids, but it can be for young adults or adults in general, because it is a way to kind of pass a story along.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So the next question is, how did we connect? Uzo, I saw your art on Instagram. I think it was the Nija Made Me page, I believe. And I just thought it was really nice and I wanted to connect. I loved the way that you were doing like the mixed media, like the fabric, and all of that. And so I was like, yeah, that looks really similar to what I had with my first book. I want to explore that more for my second. And so that's why I reached out to you. I love that pretty much summarizes it because I've reached out to you. So I'll let you take
Yeah.
the next one. You have the questions. I'll let you kind of start off with the next one. And if you don't have them, it's why do you create?
Okay. What do I create? Kind of a lot of people have different talents or just ways to speak out. Some people might be very good public speakers and some people might be very good writers. And for me, the way for me to get my story across is through visual art, storytelling, sewing, rug making, basically anything. So I basically create for ways to be able to tell my story or share other stories. And trying to just bring more light towards darker flesh people, and just kind of making people kind of still get into their head that, Black is beautiful and very much instilled and can be instilled in art.
I love that. I love that. I would say we definitely create for similar reasons. I'm all about in life in general, kind of taking situations that may be viewed at one point as bad and making them positive and just kind of connecting with people on those things. So helping others who maybe didn't have a book like this growing up, helping them to be able to connect with someone who's kind of grown past it or who's found the beauty again in their differences, whether it's disability or whether it's like my first book in being different because of your culture. So I'm all about taking a situation that, again, could be deemed as negative and making it positive, and kind of using my experiences to teach and connect with others. So that's why creating is so important to me because it's just a way to connect, and I love to connect with others. So, yeah, that's my thing. All right. So, who are you inspired by? All right. I'll let you take this one first, too. Did I lose you?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So are you gonna take that one? Who are you inspired by?
Oh, sorry, I just heard it. My
Oh,
internet's kind of acting up. Who am I inspired? Sorry, who am I inspired by? I would say because I'm an artist, I wouldn't say have one person's whole life can inspire me, but I do take parts of what someone has done and do add that to my inspiration board. Like, for example, when it comes to the criteria of what an artist does, I do like the background of Angelica Crosby. She's like me. We came into college studying something completely different, and then we started dabbling into the arts, and just kind of seeing how um, just seeing her resume and just how far she's gone, that's someone, the whole different artist for that. And it comes to different styles, the whole different artist for that. And so that's kind of how I go because it's not, I can't say have one person because I don't really tend to put people in such a godly
yeah.
pedestal, but everyone has different vices.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And just to kind of start at like a home level, I'm inspired by my dad in terms of writing. Like I would have never thought that I could publish a book if I hadn't seen my dad do it. Like it would have been like a far off dream. And so he definitely like inspires me to feel like it's something that I can do, and it's an attainable goal. So I would say definitely starting with my dad, and then just growing up reading Zora Neale Hurston and Maya Angelou, the greats that we all know. Like those people inspire me. Just seeing how they were able to kind of convey their stories in such plain text at times, but it also became timeless, because it was something that was genuine to them. And so writing has just been something that I've loved, and I never understood why, it just came to me so easily, but it does. And I think it's just because I do draw from a lot of different people, and I come up with the work, but I can look at it and I can tell, like, oh, that part came from my daddy, or that part came from something I read, somewhere else. And I just kind of spin it and add my own flair to things. But yeah, so I would definitely say like that's just a few. There are definitely many, but those are just like a few of like my top inspirations. All right, so let's look at the other one. So if you don't mind sharing, what are some other projects that you're working on, Uzo? I know you have a lot of projects.
I have a big, yeah. um, I have one that I can't really disclose yet, but I do have a big collaboration coming up with a designer brand.
Oh,
But aside from that, I recently was given the opportunity to sell my artwork in Home Goods, Target, and Wayfair and other stores. So kind of like we're working on that with lawyers and just work on the contract to see kind of creating more accessibility to art.
that is amazing, amazing. And again, I love your work. And so currently I'm working on, of course, I'm thinking about my next book. But I'm also writing songs. I'm like writing music, writing short stories. I'm always writing poetry. And so those are just a few things kind of, yeah. Let's see. So we kind of know some things. You kind of mentioned already some products you have available. I know that you're always selling your art, and then you're putting your art on other things. I know you have like lighters, a few other things as well, other than like the art that you hang. What are some other products that you have, like that your art is put?
Um, so we have phone accessories, we have phone cases,
Mm-hmm.
like this. We have candles, tote bags, coloring books, a few. That's just some of the stuff we're doing. I'm slowly now about to expand into home decor. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. That is amazing. Okay, and we've already talked about my books. That's what I have at the moment, but definitely more to come. But at the moment, I have Chinyere as well as my newest book, Chinyere's Brother. Um, so how can people work with you? Are you
Mhm.
working with people right now on this level? Um, you know, can people reach you to work with you, or what's going on with that?
I don't take a lot. I don't take commissions anymore. It's I just don't have time, and I would hate to, like you already saw, it was supposed to have gotten stuff faster, but I didn't have time, so
Yeah.
things took a lot longer, and especially now I don't have any free time basically. So, what I do try to do is try to refer other people inquiring to other artists who
Mhm.
do have open books and are willing to be able to do collaborations, try
Mhm.
to reference more underrepresented artists.
Mhm. I love that. Definitely pass it on. Like if you know that you don't have time, like let somebody else, who does have time do it. So I love that. I really love that. And so if anybody wants to collaborate with me, this is going on YouTube, so my email address will be below. But I do have time. And so I'm happy to collaborate, in terms of writing or just any other collaborative projects. I love speaking, and that's something that I've done before at events, reading at schools or in other venues. And so I love to collaborate. I'll leave my information below. Um, let's see. So, advice for authors, and I'll start this one off. So, in terms of advice for authors, and of course, we're going to always feel like we're still learning. I still feel like I'm new to this, but just one piece of advice that I think is transferable to anything is to go ahead and put your work out. I mean, you can take time to like refine it, study and do your research, but I think a lot of times, we get stuck at a place of like wanting perfection, which is not even a true concept, I don't believe. But I think a lot of times that gets us to a place where we don't actually put our work out. And so I just kind of, my advice would be to, do your research, refine your work, but then also don't be afraid to put your work out, especially if you're worried about what people are going to think, because that is something that you'll never be able to control. But your work outlives you. And I remember my dad telling me that, and that's something that I just hold to my heart, that like you publish this work and it will outlive you. And so just to be able to contribute to a body of work and know that it's going to be, beyond you is just amazing to me. And I think that everybody, if you can, should have the opportunity to do that. So put your work out there and don't be concerned about other people's thoughts. Don't let that limit you. But Uzo, any advice for illustrators, for artists?
Um, I would say just do it. There are so many different means and mediums to tackle, illustration is a little bit new, but because of that, because of like the rise of technology and stuff, it is still in demand. Invest in yourself. If you need to get the right tools, sometimes just might just close your eyes and get the instruments that you need. And just always, like, I feel like my art style is always evolving. Always be open minded to change.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And then the last question, which is almost a little redundant, but how can people get in contact with you? And for you, that may just be how can they follow you on social media, or if they need to reach you, how can they do that?
You can email me at info@uzoart, which is uzoart.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at uzo.art, uzo.art.
Yeah. All right. And so on Facebook, I'm Joy Ufomadu. So that's JoyUfomadu. My website for my Chinyere books specifically is chinyerethebook.com. I have a few other personal pages, but my email address is joycufomadu@gmail.com. And that is it. This is a really quick chat. Uzo, thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. And yeah, I really appreciate it. All right. Can you still hear me, Uzo?
Thank you for having me.